And if you're doing something, I always believe with whatever you're doing in your life, anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. So if you, as they say in Australia, have a red hot crack at it.
Yeah.
So if you're doing something, you might as well do something. Don't do anything half-assed, basically.
Yeah. And I don't. But in saying that, artists, because we suffer so much from imposter syndrome, and we suffer so much from, is this good enough?
Yep.
It's never finished.
Yes.
And it's like, is it? Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
And so I think we are terrified of putting a full stop at that end, to be like, it's done. It's okay. And I think I have struggled many a times, but I'm not a perfectionist.
Yep.
Gladly say this. I'm not a perfectionist. I think because I create music and scripts for the story at the forefront, I forget about my perfectionism. I also remember that art is subjective. Not everyone is going to like it.
Yep.
Right? And so that saves me.
And there comes a time where it becomes more important to put the work out rather than getting into the nitty-gritties of the details that matter to you, but that might not matter to, for example, the average viewer who's watching it. And you realize that it's more important to actually get the piece of work out.
Yeah.
Because that's the message that you're trying to propagate. The art industry is something that, the more you let it grow, the more it's better for everyone, because everybody grows together then.
And you're creating work for other people.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And it's a community. And yeah, I have young writers, artists that do want to create their own shows, right? They're all like, oh my God, I'm terrified. I don't know if this is worth telling. I don't know if this is gonna work. And I'm like, you'll never know.
Unless you actually try.
You'll never know unless you put it on, right?
Yep.
And I guess that is the cycle of a show as well, where, you start it small. You don't just pick it up and put it on a main stage. You have developments, have stages of your show.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you'll write something and it will bloody tank.
Yep.
It will tank.
That's part of the process.
It's part of the process, but also recognize that it's tanked and leave it there. Don't, keep pushing for it.
Yep.
Unless someone's paying you $1 million, then do it. Then don't worry about the art.
Yeah.
No, don't sell your soul to corporate. Don't do it.
I guess being an artist, that's one of the more bitter pills to swallow when you have to accept the fact that, okay, my idea or what I'm trying to execute maybe not that good. And it's a
very hard pill to swallow, right?
And it's a very humbling thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's not for everyone, especially artists, because artists inherently are people who are focused more on the self. Because the only way you can be an artist and express yourself is when you're focused on the self.
Yeah.
But to have external
validation.
What's the opposite of validation? like an external stimuli that tells you that, okay, maybe the direction that you're taking with this piece of work is not the right or the best way. I had an author on a few episodes ago, and I asked her the same question, that the author's process is also that, because you also write and she also writes, right? So how do you actually know when a piece of work is good enough to put out there, that, okay, I've got it to a point that, yes, I can put it out. It might not be perfect. I don't think it's perfect, but I need to put it out. So she also said that she realized it's something that she has to live with, that self-critique, that inner voice that keeps telling her that, okay, you can do better, or maybe this thing, you could do things in a certain different way. Yeah. She says that is a voice that I have learned to live with. And she says that I've also learned to harness it, because that is kind of your compass. It tells you where to go.
It is. Your internal compass will always tell you where to go. But everyone is different, right? I'm a terrible editor.
Okay.
I fall in love with my work and then I refuse to edit it or cut it.
Yeah.
because it's important to me. It's all important to me.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, cut out the noise. And I'm like, no, it's all important.
That's the best bit.
The amount of times that I've had to fight for lines in my shows. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this one will stay. And then as time goes on and the story progresses, you realize that someone else was right. And they're like,
Yep.
yeah, I guess it doesn't serve the story.
Yep.
But you have to come to that point
Yep.
by yourself.
Nice.
But it is always an external stimuli that will
Push you.
slightly guide you, right? And that's why you have people like editors and dramaturgs and music supervisors and MDs and who tell you, hey, this doesn't work.
One thing I really wanted to find out is, like I said, the business side of it. So with Blacklisted, okay, at what point did you actually get an idea that, okay, this experience of mine, what I've lived through, like 100 people live through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
How did you get the inspiration to actually make something out of it, and then go through the effort of turning it into like a cabaret?
I guess that it was interesting, right? All of the visa rejections that I have gone through, I never really gave it enough thought. I was like, whatever. They obviously hurt. But there was a friend of mine who I was telling, we were talking in a group, and they're like, cabaret? And I was like, no,